everyone, I'm Jessica Stutzman and welcome back to the Millcreek Government Channel. The Erie County Department of Planning and Community Development maintains the Erie County Comprehensive Plan and helps the county's 38 municipalities in their own comprehensive planning efforts. The department also administers grants for various programs and offers GIS services, as well as operates the Erie County Data Center and the Erie County Land Bank, which are all efforts that support economic and community development in Erie County. With us today to discuss all of these programs is Director Honey Stumka. Honey, thanks for joining us here today. It's been a while since we've had you on the program, but you're in a new role and it's very exciting.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much, Jessica, for having me. I'm really thrilled to be working with Erie County government in this role and excited to kind of share what we have going on in the department.
Yeah, and again, the global pandemic hit and it's been a little while since we've talked, but you've had this position now for almost 3 years.
Yes.
And what is the mission of the Erie County Department of Planning and Community Development?
Absolutely. So Erie County Planning and Community Development really exists to foster the long-term livability and vitality of our communities. And we do this through a whole host of ways, primarily through regional and comprehensive planning, compliancy and consistency reviews, and facilitating grant-related programs. And that sounds kind of all very academic. It's not. Our whole team of 15 throughout the county facilitate 22 different programs and services. And we really use a data-driven approach, you mentioned the data center, to inform our decision-making, to help all of the work that we do actually take on an actionable form rather than just kind of being very kind of academic and pie in the sky.
Mm-hmm. And that's fantastic. I love, again, data-driven research and projects, because then you've got this model mapped out. This is a thought in my head. I think this could work, but on the ground, what's that going to look like? Is it going to take off? Is this going to work? So you guys provide, the data behind that, the support behind that, and you've got, again, 15 experts in the field of making, again, Erie vital and keeping everybody progressive and moving forward into the future.
Yeah. Really, if you distill it down into something very simple, the Planning and Community Development Department is really behind the scenes helping to improve the quality of life in Erie County.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, okay, we did kind of touch a little bit on the overarching goal of the department, but you have very specific programs and services that each one of your team members is working on every single day. The first one I want to touch on is the Community Development Block Grants.
Absolutely. So, yeah, we have, I call him my seasoned, very experienced professional in the department who for a very long time has coordinated the Community Development Block Grant Program. So we work with the municipalities across the county on this program and administer it for them. So what that really means is we get monies at the state and federal level, once again, to help improve the communities in ways that people don't really necessarily even pay attention to. So for example, taking Millcreek as an example, Millcreek receives federal monies for this program and works in conjunction with our department to administer those. So if you think about your sidewalks in Millcreek or you think about your sewer lines, these are just a couple of ways in which those monies go to improve those amenities in your community.
Wonderful. So again, Millcreek residents are, and other residents throughout Erie County, but we're using Millcreek as a specific example, but benefiting so much from your department.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that same person also actually facilitates our affordable housing program. So, we really feel like every single person in Erie County deserves access to quality and affordable housing, and that program really goes to be able to help residents find those resources, help improve our housing stock. Because as you likely know, I believe you're a homeowner. homeowner.
Yes.
I am as well. My house is almost 100 years old, and our housing stock is aging. Lots of people in the county need assistance maybe to help improve their homes. And so through this program, we're able to work with municipalities once again to get these programs out on the street to help people be able to do some home improvements. So we work with a bunch of different agencies across the county to do that.
Yes, and that is true. I mean, home ownership, man, sometimes you just want to throw in the towel.
Yes.
You know, the windows are going the same time that the garage door and oh, the list goes on and on, the furnace and whatnot. So yeah, home ownership is its own animal, and if there's things that you can do to help residents with that burden, that's incredible. What agencies do you partner with within this program?
Oh my gosh, I am trying to remember off the top of my head. It just depends on the program. So for example, in the past, we have partnered with GCAC to do residential weatherization programs and help residents, particularly in this climate, make sure that when our weather turns south, like it seems like it might be doing, that their homes are weatherized, right? The drafts are a little mitigated, because that adds up to people's bottom line and what they're able to afford, right? Our energy bills are not decreasing, they're actually increasing. And so being able to mitigate the weather kind of coming into your home helps keep money in your pocketbook. So that's just one example.
Yes, no, great example. Again, just moving along here, because there are so many to touch on today. The Municipal Assistance Program and really deals a lot with comprehensive planning. Tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So once again, another expert in our department administers this program, and we work with all of the municipalities in various ways. There are lots of municipalities that don't have the expertise on hand or the capacity on hand to update their comprehensive plans. And so we as a department work with them to be able to do that. So for example, recently we've worked with Albion Borough. We just are wrapping up this process with Green Township and starting the process with Northeast Township and Northeast Borough. For your listeners and viewers, they may have participated in the Embrace Millcreek planning process. And while we didn't directly facilitate that process, Millcreek was able to bring in a consulting team to facilitate that process. We did support that by participating in steering committees and other things, but lots of communities are not in that position, and so we offer this as a free service out to our municipalities. I could use probably maybe 3 to 4 more staff in this particular area, but that's one way that we do that. Oftentimes, municipalities are needing to update their zoning and codes, and so they'll lean on us for that expertise, or if they've done that, they'll send them to us to make sure that they are in compliance with the county comprehensive planning, zoning, and those types of things. And so we'll do those reviews, we'll say they're good to go, and send them back. So once again, kind of behind the scenes stuff that a lot of people don't even realize kind of takes place, but all lends itself to having an improved quality of life as you move about your business in Erie County.
And honey, well, I want to ask first, how long, when you're doing a comprehensive plan, how long does that take you out or take your municipality out? Is that, 5 years, 10 years, 50 years? What's the average length for a comprehensive plan?
Absolutely. So in the past, it has been standard. 10 years has been the standard. We're really, as we've been developing these plans, we're trying to make them actionable and implementable. Not something, if anyone's kind of following along in planning, municipal planning, you'll hear that a lot of plans get developed and then they get sat on a shelf and they get nice and dusty and no one ever looks at them and they just go about their business. And we're really trying to reverse that trend in Erie County. And so we're looking at making our plans no more than 10 years, but really kind of 5-year plans so people can dig in right away and get things done. And you can start to see the results of that, right? So that's kind of our mindset, is really actionable plans that get you out of the gate right away.
Yes, and so when you have a plan, again, it's not good to have a plan that, stretches, 50 or 100 years. Why is it important to change it and update it? What happens over those 10 years?
Absolutely. Well, let's just look at over the last couple of years what has taken place globally, right? We're all experiencing a global pandemic. And so thinking about how just even communities have changed in that time. So some of our more rural communities in the county are actually experiencing, it's a small, however, it is an influx of people moving into those communities because, right, a lot of places that people work now, they don't have to physically be in those locations to work. They can work from anywhere. And so it's really quite affordable to live in Erie County. And many of our communities across the entire county, Millcreek being one of those, really lend to kind of a unique a way of life, right, that is attractive to a lot of people. And so that's one of the reasons why it's important, right, to not plan necessarily for 10 years out, because things are shifting so much and so much more quickly now that it would be it just wouldn't be fruitful for these communities to think about 10 years and beyond. You've really got to think in shorter time frames now.
Right. And I think, again, just because of what happens day to day in our lives, priorities change. And, I have obviously, again, due to the pandemic, but so many people are getting outside and recreating. And I know you and I have talked about this so many times, that they are bundling up, they are getting outside, they are using the playground equipment in the winter or using that hiking trail. And so now it's like, okay, we really need to focus on our parks because this is something the community wants and needs.
Yes.
And then I did attend some of our think tank sessions with the community, and I will say, without fail, they wanted their family to be safe. So with, police and fire presence. And then after that, they said parks and recreation is important to us.
Yeah. I think it's the Knight Foundation just came out with a report that basically when people are looking to relocate, the things in the past that people would typically look for in a community, like schools and public safety, they just expect those things to be good now, right? Those are kind of givens. They're really looking for these extra amenities like quality parks, trails, and recreation, arts and culture, those types of things are a draw. And so I tell people, we kind of help create the conditions for those things to be developed and thrive in our municipalities.
Yes. Okay. And so I just want to make sure we keep getting through these.
Yeah.
And you perform reviews of other people's plans, or you help provide support, and then technical assistance for county-sponsored projects. So just moving right along here, agricultural land preservation program. Tell me about this. This is something I'm not super familiar with.
Yep, absolutely. If you don't necessarily own farmland, you might not be. So the agricultural land preservation program, once again, is one of kind of those behind-the-scenes programs that helps preserve farmland in perpetuity here in Erie County. So think of, right, the adage, no farms, no food. A lot of people, once again, because of the pandemic, were looking to source their food in a really hyper-local way. So this program becomes even more important. But the idea is to help preserve that farmland so it cannot be developed at any time in the future. And so to date, this program, we've actually had this program for decades in the county, and to date, we're close to preserving about 10,000 acres across the entire county of farmland. So you can think about our grape crops and some of our other important crops in the county, and this just helps to make sure that we have the land to continue to grow those things.
And I love that you brought that up because, again, grapes to produce, for the wineries, that is a crop.
Yeah.
And it is so important to our local economy and our tourism and to the events, and it's a draw. So we definitely don't want to, again, it's not food, but it's a part of our local economy and what's sustaining us and again, really driving people here. So
yeah, so we don't want to develop over those vineyards.
yes, absolutely. Okay, and then my favorite topic, the recycling program.
Yes.
And that's something, again, you have the Erie County Recycling Program falling under your department. We've had Lynn Armel on the show a couple of times. She's your sustainability coordinator, but do you want to add any additional thoughts about the Erie County Recycling Program?
Well, I'll just say that we are wrapping up the development of a 5-year recycling strategic plan, and so looking to implement that in the coming years. Some, really looking to address kind of the long-term issues with recycling. So it's gonna kind of take all of you recycling professionals in Erie County kind of coming behind that and moving that forward. So stay tuned in regards to that.
Yes, absolutely. And we had a great consultant on it and a lot of great people locally working, we know that there are problems. We see that there are problems and we want to fix them for the community. So like you said, stay tuned and that plan will be coming out. So, and then also coastal zone management, another department, a program under your department that we've had on the show, but just touch quickly on coastal zone management also.
Absolutely. So once again, lots of people don't really, I guess, unless you are fishing or boating, you're not really thinking much about our coastline, our 77 miles of coastline here in Erie County, but lots of people are. We're seeing it particularly with the change in weather. Heavy rain events are causing some great damage on our coastline, and so this program kind of helps to monitor and mitigate the impacts of erosion and weather events on the coastline. And I'm thinking too, one thing that's not in the notes that this same person in our department facilitates is the Greenways program, because you mentioned Parks, Trails, and Recreation.
Yeah.
And this person also oversees that area as well. And so recently, just earlier this year, we're still in 2020, or 2021, we passed or approved an Erie County Parks, Trails, and Recreation Plan. And if we have some time at the end, maybe we can go into a little bit more detail about that, but I don't want to derail the conversation. But that's also something that kind of comes out of our department as well.
Mm-hmm. And something also, again, and I think that it would fall under here, but that I've had communication with Coastal Zone Management in your office is a study on the heavy weather patterns. Yes, the heavy weather patterns, how they've, what we've seen recently and how they've affected different programs or individuals. And I will never forget, and I name them. I can name them all. I know exactly which date they were on, which is probably pretty scary that I know this well. But we had, a tornado on November 5th, 2017. Mm-hmm. We had the Christmas blizzard and followed up by a flood on Father's Day. And I will say, and that was 2018, and I would say that the reason I think that I got involved is because all of those create debris and damage. And then where does that damage go to? Well, organic debris, limbs, branches, leaves, all come to the Millfair Compost and Recycling Center. And we saw an inundation of organic debris that we almost couldn't handle. And so if those natural disasters continue to escalate and the frequency of those increase, we're going to need to find some ways to manage, because we have a 5-acre facility, but again, that was just 3 events spaced out by, a month, 4 months. But, it was really, for the community, it was bam, bam, bam.
Yeah.
So, we're excited to participate in that and share our thoughts and just concerns for what do we do with all this debris if this ever comes again.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think you're kind of alluding to the coastal zone management person's involvement in the Community Resiliency Action Network of Erie County, CRANE, right? Because we all love our acronyms. No matter what profession we're in, there's acronyms, right? And so looking at how do we at this point, try and reverse the impacts of climate change and make our community more resilient to be able to handle these weather events that are becoming more closely together and at the damage is often greater than we've experienced at any time in the past.
Right, exactly. So, okay, so the next thing we have on our list to talk about, Municipal Planning Organization, MPO.
Yes, and actually I will say that that's a typo. It's the Metropolitan Planning Organization.
Okay, Metropolitan, thank you.
Yeah, I know, right? Sounds so fancy. But that organization really leads the transportation planning efforts across the county. So once again, this is not something that is probably on, unless you're living in it, unless you're an engineer or working at the municipal level, this is not something that's probably on your mind on a day-to-day basis. But lots of your viewers likely drive, and so the work of the Metropolitan Planning Organization is basically to help keep the quality of our roads and bridges and all of those things that relate to that in good condition. So currently, we are undergoing an update of our long-range transportation plan. Now, that is a planning document that does go out until 2040, 2050. However, it does get updated every 5 years because things are changing so quickly in our different municipalities that it's important to kind of update what transportation projects are on the priority list and everything like that. So I know that Millcreek actually currently is being asked to review the list of transportation projects that will end up on the long-range transportation plan for this update. So things like the Peninsula Drive and the West 8th Street improvements. And perhaps some of your viewers did participate over the summer when we were gathering information about what was important, right, as a person who engages, whether it's in personal transportation or mass transportation, what was important to you in that respect. And so maybe they participated in those surveys and things.
Yes, and of course, we do have to, again, make sure the public, is safe crossing the bridges that they travel on and things like that. So I just can't believe it. We could keep talking all day. We also have the data center for GIS, which is Geographic Information Systems.
Yes.
We have just a couple minutes left, so I want to just give brief overviews. So we make sure we touch on every single aspect of this department. Like I said, it is all encompassing. So let's talk about GIS quickly.
Absolutely. So our data center, really a new program that came online in 2018, a partnership through some entities across Erie County, because we really saw the need, once again, to make data-driven decisions. So this data center does kind of that data analysis. A company's looking to move into the community. What is going to be the economic impact of that company moving in? A community needs mapping services. Let's have our GIS professionals create those maps for our municipalities, once again, to help them make informed decisions about their community. That's really what the data center and GIS services encompass.
Yes, and I love mapping. I studied this a lot in college, so I think mapping is a really neat tool to be able to use. Like you said, data-driven information. The one thing, this next program, I saw a home, it was vacant and, probably had, no buyers and maybe, no family members, but it became vacant and, people stopped taking care of it. or there was no one to take care of it after it became vacant. So I drive past this house on my way to work, and then a sign popped up in the yard that said Erie County Land Bank. And what does that mean now?
Absolutely. So once again, this is also another new program in Erie County. It came online about the same time as the data center. And really the idea is to take the properties that have been disinvested in over a long period of time, whether that is because they haven't paid their property taxes, are not able to keep up with the upkeep, they've vacated the property, but to take those properties and turn them back into productive use. So this is a partnership, once again, between Erie County government and municipal governments and school districts, so that those properties can come back on the tax rolls in a productive way, and the properties that are nearby, these properties that have been disinvested in, can maintain a higher value than they would if you're sitting next to a property that is kind of falling down and in shambles. And so there's lots of really neat things coming out in this new year. We've kind of got the operational side down, and now we're moving into the programmatic side, beyond just taking the properties and whether we're demolishing them or rehabbing them. We're moving into some other things that'll be really beneficial to homeowners. So stay tuned in the new year for those types of things.
Yeah, I really can't wait to see where we go with this. This, I think, is really exciting. And one of the very last things, again, we have just a couple seconds left here, is all of the grant writing that goes on in your department. It's extensive.
It absolutely is, yeah. So if the grant writer isn't taking care of building capacity within Erie County government, they're helping our municipalities, particularly as it relates to all of the CARES money that came into our community earlier this year, and now the ARPA dollars. We're really trying, particularly because we in our department deeply care about the municipalities, make sure that our municipalities are taken care of. And so our grant writer has really been instrumental in developing the programs that are going to help municipalities then help their residents throughout the remainder of this pandemic and beyond.
Oh, well, honey, thank you so much. I just want to mention it briefly because we didn't, really get to dive into it. So we'll have to have you back on the show. But just a couple of the current projects you're working on. You have 3 listed here, and I just want you to rattle them off. So again, we can dive into them next time, but our viewers get a little taste and maybe can go online and search for more.
Yeah, we can do a special program. So we're currently additionally working on development of the Lake Erie Quadrangle National Marine Sanctuary, which has been a kind of a long-term project of the department. The Parks, Trails, and Recreation, we're working on a feasibility study to see what that would look like to have a coordinator for all of Erie County, once again, to help our municipalities with those quality of life amenities, and then realigning the Erie to Pittsburgh Trail for those bikers and hikers out there right now. It doesn't actually fully go through Erie County, and it should, and so we're looking at realigning it so it runs through the county. So stay tuned, because those are all things that we could definitely use public input on.
Well, honey, oh my gosh, I am excited about all of these projects. I feel like they benefit me, at least in some way, shape, or form, and I'm sure they do our viewers as well. So thank you for coming on the show and really diving deep into each of your the sectors underneath your department, and we have to have you back on to again dive into these new projects coming up that we didn't get to touch on.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, Jessica.
Viewers, I think we learned so much today about the planning department and community development. I've just realized myself how much this benefits me as a resident of Millcreek Township and of Erie County, and I hope you realize that too. So what I want you to do, if we spark some interest, I want you to go to their website, go to their Facebook page, and learn a little bit more. And then they are always asking, through surveys, for your expertise or your opinion. So I want to just really turn you to, again, the website, phone numbers, and to social media to be able to connect with this department in the county. They do really great work for us. So thank you for tuning into the Millcreek Government Channel, and until next time, have a great day.